Several hundred demonstrators, led by Seattle City Council member Kshama Sawant, occupied City Hall downtown Tuesday night for just over an hour, calling for the resignation of Mayor Jenny Durkan and the defunding of the Seattle Police Department after a march from the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Protesters entered chanting, "Whose City Hall? Our City Hall," before listening to a number of speakers at the People's Mic, as Sawant called it, on a range of issues, from the importance of black LGBTQIA+ women in recent protests to taxing the council member's familiar foe. "It is about building the kind of political representation that brings the voice of the people into the halls of power and grabs power for ordinary people," Sawant said. Starting Wednesday, the City Council is going to be discussing budget issues, meaning two very important demands for us: defund SPD and tax Amazon. Many protesters also stayed behind to maintain a presence in the zone around 12th and Pine. Others spoke out saying the community, not politicians, should drive decisions around the camp growing outside the large police precinct emptied of equipment and boarded with plywood. So far, the boards have remained in place. Become a Pay What You Can (CHS) subscriber today. Support local journalism dedicated to your neighborhood. Subscribe here. Join to become a subscriber at $1 per $5 per $10 a month to help CHS provide community news with no paywall. You can also sign up for a one-time annual payment. At City Hall, after a song telling Durkan, "You about to lose your job," another speaker decried Sawant's co-optation of the movement to push her own agenda. "Please stop using Black Lives Matter for your political campaigns," the speaker said, also noting the whiteness of many speakers at recent protests. "I'm really sorry, I want to tax Amazon too, I want to do all these things too, but this is not a movement for you to be politically active, for you to be politically correct, and for you to gain all these votes. Please stop taking advantage of us." Sawant also had critical words for her council colleagues, who she called corporate politicians and sellouts. "When I'm sitting on the dais, every moment I remind myself they're not my people, you're my people," she said on the steps up to the council chamber. Protesters left City Hall chanting, "Defund SPD," and headed back east to Cal Anderson Park and the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, where protesters watched 13th, a documentary on mass incarceration, on a projector. A new sign hung outside the East Precinct that said, "This space is now property of the Seattle people." The impromptu peaceful visit comes just a day after the SPD ceded its East Precinct at 12th and Pine, where protesters created the Chaz, which continued to sprout Tuesday as demonstrators watched a documentary in the evening and filled the space with food and beverages.